Hey there, everybody. It's the week of June 1st through the 7th. We are entering the halfway mark of the year, or pretty close to it. Can't believe it. The year of the fire horse has been galloping by and also trudging at the same time. But here we find ourselves. Tali in Seattle, happily wearing a my favorite denim sundress. I'm always happy when spaghetti straps enter the wardrobe conversation. It's the little things for me.
It's not such a little thing in Seattle. And Ophi here in NYC wearing a denim jacket because it isn't as warm as I'd like it to be, although it will be this week. And yeah, I am glad that 2026 is halfway through, I guess I could say. I mean,
Our
yeah,
minds are already on 2027 because we're
we're working on
working
our
away on the
book.
book. Another fire year. We have 2 years ending in 6 and 7 are of the fire element in the Chinese lunar Eastern zodiac. And so next year's the year of the fire sheep, kind
Yeah.
of the year of the shish kebab, if you will. That's
I was thinking
so
that too.
inappropriate. I know every time I hear it, I'm like,
Fire
fire.
sheet.
Is it wrong that my mind goes there? I don't know.
Thinks of a barbecue. No. Well, the June lineup is kind of lopsided, very appropriate for Gemini season. The first half of the month doesn't have a whole lot of planetary transits, as they're called, events. And then the second half has a ton of them, which we're going to get into a little bit of. But this week, there's only one transit. Mercury is changing signs, moving from Gemini into Cancer on Monday, June 1st. And Mercury's been in Gemini, which is the sign that it rules, along with the Sun and Uranus. So it's if your life has felt a bit like a Mercury retrograde, I mean, it's been the combo platter, both
For the
Mercury
last
and
few weeks. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Both Mercury and Uranus rule data and information, and Uranus is newly,
Intellect, the
yeah,
mind. Yeah.
communication. So, yeah, Uranus is newly in Gemini since April 25th. First time since the 1940s. It's here for a long run. And it can be a lot. I found that a lot of people felt like their circuits have been fried. There's so much multitasking, so much info coming at us. It's not like there hasn't been, but I feel like the way we're processing it is different. So it'll be nice to have Mercury moving into a soothing water sign, maybe putting our minds less on, a
The
million different
24/7
things.
news cycle. And we better like it because Mercury is going to be in Cancer for a very long time.
Yes.
All the way until August 9th. So for the majority of the summer, the rest of the official spring. The reason for this, womp womp, on June 29th, Mercury is going to have its summer retrograde, and that lasts until July 23rd. So, what happens during a Mercury retrograde? A lot of people are like, well, what does that actually mean? So, right now, Mercury is not retrograde, it's in direct motion. So, it's traveling through each degree of the zodiac. So, it just moved from the very last degree of Gemini, 29 degrees. And then Monday, June 1st, hits 0 degrees Cancer. And then it starts slowly moving forward through Cancer's 30 degrees of the zodiac, one, two, three, etc. Then, boom, June 29th, it goes retrograde. And then it starts backing up from our vantage point here on Earth through the zodiac. So it's almost like a car that has driven this distance. It's like, uh-oh, I forgot my phone. I have to turn around and go back home. So it goes back over the same terrain in Cancer that it was in until three
Grabs the
weeks
phone off the
later.
counter. Yeah.
Yep, right. Right. Let's keep going with that metaphor. And then 3 weeks later, it's like, well, I'm going to drive back. So it covers that same distance essentially 3 times in Cancer. So, yeah, I know we're getting kind of technical right up here in the beginning of it, but the math is mathing here. Stay with us. the zodiac wheel, we've got a 360-degree circle, and each of the 12 signs gets domain over 30 degrees of it. It's a very fair co-op system. Everyone of the 12 signs gets their own equal portion of the pie. Cancer has 0 to 29 degrees of Cancer. So Mercury's almost all the way done, almost ready to get to Leo. It hits 26 degrees Cancer and then it backs up to 16 degrees Cancer. So this period, this wedge of Cancer between 16 and 26 degrees is where the action takes place. Now, if you have done your birth chart before, you might want to look and see, do you have any planets in your chart, any placements like your rising sign, maybe your midheaven, your nodes that are at somewhere between 16 and 26 degrees Cancer, because this summer that planet is going to get a little bit of a wake up call. So those planets in our birth charts, they're the cast in the movie of our lives. They're there, they're in our corner, they're in our toolkit. And when a planet like Mercury retrograde is kind of like a guest star coming in. So it's going to be activating that energy in your chart. If you know a little bit about astrology, even if you don't have planets and you know the houses, you might want to look at where 16 to 26 degrees of Cancer is in your chart. In our chart, it's in our seventh house of partnerships. So we're going to go, hey, who are some people that we worked with in the past that we really loved partnering up with? Maybe we should reach out to them again. Definitely not going to call any exes up, but
But they might call us. They might
that's
call
true.
us.
That's true.
Well, retrogrades are good for anything that starts with the prefix re. And also, Mercury rules technology, travel, communication. So it's a good time to research, reconnect, eh,
Rekindle.
rekindle, maybe. Um, Back up
Right.
all your data and devices, strengthen the passwords, identity thefts and hacks and that kind of thing can
Be careful what you
occur.
put on AI.
Yeah, don't, your AI therapist is not bound by a HIPAA oath, so be careful what you tell the chat bot.
And the
And
sign that Mercury is retrograding through also matters. It's Cancer, which
yeah.
rules home and family and your nest egg, your savings account, your private time. So it kind of goes, when it comes to reactivities, like reconnecting with old friends and beloved relatives between June 1st and August 9th, connecting to new people, but then between June 29th and July 23rd, that's great. I feel like family reunions planned right without too many excessive details could go really well. I also think kind of getting to work on any kind of a home-based project, if you are going to start one, definitely get everyone lined up before June 29th or wait until after July 23rd if you can. Now, some
Yeah,
people
the
have already
family
booked.
vacations. Yeah, exactly. That can be a
I
little
mean,
bit dicey.
yeah, I mean, some people have already booked, contractors, things like that, but you have time. You're hearing this now. You've booked the hotel for the, family, but like just make sure everything's, on the up and up and inspected and that you've, you know, got everybody's plane tickets and time off and all that handled. You just
If
go
you
the
are
extra
planning,
mile.
if you are planning a family trip or gathering in July, then, or like the 4th of July, if you're in the US and you have time off, then yeah, triple check all your travel details now. This is a good week to make sure passports are up to date. Read those TripAdvisor reviews and Airbnb reviews of the places that you're thinking about. Just take extra care because things can go awry. Try to get refundable things, whether it's reservations, and Yeah, an ounce of caution is worth a pound of cure, as Ben Franklin, who was a Capricorn, said. So take those extra precautions during
And
Mercury
do it now
retrograde.
because it's kind of a slower start to June. And, we just got the monthlies up, and you were saying, we were talking earlier, Ophi,
Yeah.
about how the month is kind of stacked with stacked in the back, so that there's a lot
It's a little
more,
bottom heavy. Yes, it
lot, yeah, a
is.
lot more intensity going on in the second half of the
Yeah, and our
month.
monthly horoscopes are up on Astro Style, but just for a little overview, um, we have a Gemini new moon on June 14th, and that kind of kicks
Super
us,
moon.
yeah, it's a super moon that kind of kicks us into the second half. We're recording this on the tailwind of the Sagittarius full moon, which is a micro moon, which doesn't mean it's tiny, it just means it's farther away from the Earth. And when a super moon is close, called apogee or perigee. It's just an astronomical measurement, but still looks like the moon in the sky, like a big pizza pie. And so we've got Chiron, which is the wounded healer, moving into Taurus for the first time since the mid 80s on June 19th, shortly after the new moon. So that's a big deal. If you're born in the 80s, some of you will be having your Chiron return in the coming years. So a brief preview before it goes in for a few years in April 2027.
And some people don't know what Chiron is, actually. So, Chiron, it's been called a comet, an asteroid, a planetoid. It orbits between Saturn, the planet of boundaries and restrictions, and Uranus, a planet of liberation and release. And it's called the wounded healer. And it represents the part of us where the wound that doesn't heal, actually, but turns into a healing gift. So, uh, we've
Chiron heal, where you heal others in order to heal yourself. So
mhm.
um, if you have Chiron and Taurus, I remember I had a bunch of people last summer who did readings with Chiron and Taurus born in the 80s. And they all had Taurus rules money and resources and security. And they all had a wound around that. And a lot of them were grappling with having taken stable jobs that they didn't love out of that
Mm.
wound. So we all may discover how we are dealing with money, whether the money we earn, how we spend it, how we save it or don't save it, our education around money, and uh, out
So,
of a wounded pattern so it's an opportunity
and the
for us.
collective wound too
Yeah,
around it. So, like right now, we've had Chiron and Aries, since 2018, 2019. It was going back, it started then. Um, and the wounds around war, around authoritarians, around the
anger.
power, anger, use of force are, I mean, I wouldn't say we've healed them at all. And I think it makes sense. Chiron's going to be in Taurus for just 2 months, 3 months from June 19th to September 17th. And then it goes back into Aries until April 2027. Then it goes into Taurus again for a longer spell, about 7 years. But we're all, with gas prices and grocery prices
Cost
and
of living,
jobs and getting swallowed up
right?
by AI, but just the whole workforce being in flux, and also our natural resources with the data
Yeah.
centers, AI. I think when Chiron goes into a new sign, we have to deal collectively as humans with the wound. And I think the war wound and the domination wound, like we're really deep in it. Chiron and Aries has been absolutely, I mean, we had the pandemic. It's been, I have to say, it's been
It's
a
been there since
hard road.
2018, yeah. So
Yeah.
it has had some challenges for sure, but we do grow from it, and it is an opportunity to like not brush things under the rug. So, but that's so summer, we've got Mercury retrograde and Chiron ahead in Cancer and Taurus, which are both concerned with security. So we will probably be looking at a lot of that. Now, this is the last month of Jupiter in Cancer, too. So make the most of that as well. Before Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer and challenges us around home and family, Jupiter, the planet of growth and abundance and optimism, um, new horizons, is going to be is has been in Cancer since June 9th of 2025, and it's leaving. It comes around every 12 years, so it's leaving um, on June 30th, not to be back for more than a decade, moving into Leo. So do use these next couple weeks, especially with Mercury going into Cancer, but not retrograde, um, to reach out to family members, to have those conversations with, to, you know, funny enough, a couple hours ago in my apartment in New York City, the bathroom ceiling fell into the bathtub. Apparently, there's been a slow
God.
drip from above from the drain. So I thought, how full moon, how entry of Mercury into Cancer with Jupiter also there. Like there's been Cancer's a water sign. So there's been a water issue that just presented itself right as Mercury is about to go into Cancer. But there's, but now I'm going to reach out to the landlord who has owed us some kitchen repairs.
And
So
that was a water
that
issue
was a
too, the
flood.
flood.
Who
Moron,
knows?
help
Maybe
us.
with Mercury and Jupiter, my super came over and gave me a new person to email and connect with. So I'm not holding my breath. But that's an example of how Mercury and Jupiter in Cancer for the next couple weeks, before Mercury, well, really for the whole month before Mercury goes retrograde, could work in your favor. Reach out to, get a quote about a home repair if you need one, or plan a trip. Take your trips on the early and the late side of the summer if you still are have the luxury of making those plans you haven't made yet.
And also, Cancer rules our foundations as well. So, you know, also maybe, Mercury is a social planet. It's our friends,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are, having to really tighten their belts and, you know, maybe it's going to Costco together and getting your groceries or having community meals or doing things to just, it's an interesting challenge. We're living in this time of excess in many ways. I mean, certainly the Western world has just extra everything, so much choice that, we've gotten really used to having a thousand different options at our fingertips without really thinking about the impact as much on the environment, on our personal finances, and sustainability and sustainability around our homes, our lifestyle choices. Those are also very Mercury and Cancer.
A lot of people are wanting to spend time together at home to just have more meaningful interactions as well. So, getting together and doing something creative. One thing I just read about in New York Magazine, which is maybe more Uranus and Gemini, I'm not sure, but is that the clown scene has become a new comedy thing, and that people
What?
are taking clowning classes. Connor's Story from Heated Rivalry was doing clown classes, and that's how he got the physical stamina to do all of his sex scenes. I'm like, I don't know, but like
Wow.
it kind of speaks to the cost of living dilemma, turning people toward craft and new art forms as well. So that just popped into my mind as like, you know, the overpriced restaurant scene, although, we love to support restaurant owners and they deserve business as well. But, just all the prices going up. I think people are just gathering to find ways to express their creativity for fulfillment and connection, which doesn't cost a thing.
Well, speaking of clowns, can we talk for a minute about this UFC fight that's basically going to be like the cage fight that's happening on the White House lawn in a couple of weeks on Trump's birthday? Of course, enjoying just watching this Freedom 250 concert go up in flames. All these artists are like, they did a bait and switch. We didn't know that we were going to be performing for Trump's birthday. So, like, country star Martina McBride, I think she's a Leo, dropped out. The Commodores, Morris Day, Young MC are all like, hell no. In fact, the only two artists, and I just think this is so fitting, who are like, locked and loaded to perform at this concert are Scorpio Vanilla Ice, who rides hard for Trump, and the surviving member Fab Morvan of lip syncing disaster, Milli Vanilli. Some of you might not even be old enough to remember Milli Vanilli, but
Girl, you know it's true, right?
that's, yeah, the girl, yeah, they were this,
Ooh,
duo.
ooh, ooh. I love you. Yeah.
Yeah, they had like the most basic song, like that, anyone should, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but they got busted lip syncing at a concert and the track was off, and that was such a scandal then, even though people lip sync all the time now. But Fab is now performing for Trump. So some people learn their karmic lessons,
Vanilla,
other people don't.
vanilli. I mean, it's,
It doesn't get more
it,
white supremacy than
oh
it's
my
on
God.
brand, isn't it?
It's so on brand. It's not, it's almost like, are we, no, no, it's not a joke. So
Trump is even saying he's going to cancel the concert and he'll be the performer, the goat, the greatest performer of all times. But we won't be seeing him perform at the Kennedy Center, not to be confused with the never to be Trump Kennedy Center, because this week a judge ruled that his name had to come off of that, and he was not. Of course, he's on a tweet storm about it, but yeah, there
two
will
Gemini
be.
presidents, JFK and Trump. So there's basically four names on the Kennedy Center then. So it's getting
Right.
crowded. Donald Trump is a Sag moon. It was a Sag full moon. He's also a Sag south node. So yeah, apparently he
Was born
tweeted
on a
like,
Sagittarius full moon, in
oh
fact.
yeah, right, he was. So
This
well,
one
it
was not kind, this blue
no,
moon.
no,
Yeah.
this one he tweeted like 50 or 60 times already today and just bashing and other presidents and putting up AI images of himself. Just another day in the life because there's nothing going on in this country or with any of the wars that he's started and can't seem to get finished. So why not just tweet and make AI memes all day?
Yeah, so just another day, another clown show. But the good news is, we do have ways to regulate ourselves through all the madness. And this seems like a really good time to share about the Apollo Neuro, one of our favorite ways to stay calm during these anxiety-provoking times. So let's get a word from that, and we'll be right back.
Our very first sponsor, the Apollo wearable, is one that's close to my heart, literally. It just so happens to be tucked into my bra right now. The Apollo is a wearable device that delivers silent, soothing sound wave vibrations to the body that signals safety to the brain through the sense of touch, similar to how your body responds to a hug or snuggling a pet. I met the founder of the Apollo a couple years ago while I was speaking at the Milken Global Conference. He gave me his device to wear during my talk, and I was amazed by how in the zone I was. In fact, when I finished, Holly was like, wow, you were really focused. Well, I came to find out that He had set the device to focus mode, and I was intrigued. So I got one for myself, and I've been wearing it almost every day for 2 years. So, what really impressed me about the Apollo is that it's based on over 60 years of neuroscience research and has been validated in 17 clinical trials. It's the first wearable technology to improve sleep, heart rate variability, and energy just by wearing it. And I can attest to that. I change up the settings depending on whether I want to wind down or perk up or get into the zone. And it has this patented low frequency bass vibrations that actually modulate your vagus nerve activity. That's a big thing I've
Hmm.
heard people talking about. Again, I can attest to that. I often put it on the mindfulness or recover setting when I'm a little stressed out. If you're someone who has brain fog or ADHD, the Apollo actually can help you focus. My favorite setting is the focus mode. And I put it on before I write anything or help my daughter with her homework. It really gets me into a state of concentration. I can wear it on my wrist or my ankle or clip to my clothes. It pairs with your phone and then you can set it. You can also use Smart Vibes, which I've started using, and that takes sleep data from your Apollo. If you wear it for a week, to learn your body's patterns over time and automatically deliver the right support at the right time, day and night. So, as a special gift to our podcast listeners, Apollo is offering $99 off the purchase of any device. Just go to apolloneuro.com/astrotwins and use the code AstroTwins for $99 off. Again, that's apolloneuro.com/astrotwins with code AstroTwins for $99 off.
Well, we've got lots more to get into, but before we do, we'd love to ask you if you've been enjoying the podcast, if you'd be so kind as to leave us a 5-star review, like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your astrology loving friends. It really does help the algorithm and help more people find out about our show. Okay, so, it is a little bit of a slower week in terms of transits, but that doesn't mean things are slowing down in the world around us. In fact, Los Angeles is heating up with their mayoral race, and there's another. We've been talking about, I don't think he's gone to clowning lessons, but he has been a clown of a reality show star, Spencer Pratt, who is on the Trump train, basically. A Leo with a Capricorn rising and Scorpio moon. He is same big three as Kylie Jenner, interestingly enough.
Yeah, he is a serious contender to be one of the LA mayoral candidates. Interestingly, same north and south nodes as Donald Trump, a bloviating Sagittarius south node, Gemini north node, so which means they'll have Uranus over their north nodes at some point. But he and Heidi Montag, his Virgo wife, they met, I think, on the hills, or they were already dating. It's been
They
a
were the
while.
villains. They
They
had
were the
a
villain
portmanteau
couple.
Spidey, remember?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they were known as
everybody.
Spidey. They've gone on to just do ridiculous things, make money, blow it all, be desperate. They lost their house in the LA fires, and he lost his crystal collection, interestingly. He is so not in any way remotely suited to politics. And yet he's gathered all this support, which scares me because Jupiter is going into Leo and he's a Leo.
He actually just had a 33-foot Airstream trailer that was like hundreds of thousands of dollars placed on his property that burned down in Pacific Palisades so that he could say that he's living in LA. I mean, they
Mhm.
own a bunch of buildings in Santa Monica. He's a trust fund baby. They have a place in Montecito. I mean, he's not hurting for funds at all. And even after going through losing his home, his approach and his stance towards the homeless in LA is despicable. They're not homeless, they're drug addicts, is one of
Right.
the
Just
things he
arrest
said.
them, punish. I mean, it's so he is potentially a contender. We have Karen Bass, who's a Libra with a Leo moon, who is not a favorite because of how she handled the fires. So it's scary because we now know from Donald Trump that this big talking, bloviating reality star type is, taken is looked upon as like, well, it's something different. And that's what we were raised on. So it's familiar, and our logical brains don't always make those decisions for the masses. Like someone familiar can get away with just being seen as a good bet. We make 95% of our decisions with our subconscious. Actually, one
Yeah,
of our,
there's a lot of reality stars who are actually heading into politics. I was
yeah.
reading like Farrah Abrams from Teen
Oh
Mom
my
is doing.
God. She
Who
was another
doesn't
villain.
know?
She's a Gemini. If you go, what a preposterous choice that a reality star who has no education in policy or law or any of the things we used to expect from a politician should run for public office. And on the other hand, it's like, well, maybe it'd be refreshing to have an everyday person because doesn't look like we're getting things done. But these are not everyday people. These are not
Although
the everyday people
there is
we would
one
want.
guy from Summer House,
Oh, yeah,
Luke,
I saw that.
what's his name?
Bravo.
Luke Gulbranson, who's actually hot. And he
Elect
is
him.
exactly, he is 42 years old and he's running as a Democrat. He said he grew up as a welfare kid on powdered milk and food stamps in northern Minnesota, and he has a disabled dad and his mom has leukemia, and he's really like, he says he got a thick skin from reality TV, but he's,
I mean, if you actually want to make a
he's
difference on the
standing for
planet, who
something, right?
cares? Yeah, I mean, great. Please, by all means. I mean, Zoran Mamdani was a theater kid. It's like, do you have real ideas for how to make the world
Well,
better?
Jupiter going into Leo at the end of June, I think we're going to see a lot of theater kids going into
Yeah.
politics,
Oh,
especially as the South
great is
Node
the right word.
joins up, and that's not going to be that great for Hollywood. So, can't get a job on set, move into politics. I think that
Well, our friend Stevie Goldstein, who used to do the podcast What's Your Sign? And now she has an astrology substack called Star Quality. She just posted an in-depth analysis of all the LA mayoral candidates. She lives
let's
in
share that
LA.
link.
Yeah, we'll share
Mhm.
the link to that. Stevie Goldstein.
Speaking of Leo energy, Dua Lipa, who we've done a reading for and have worked with her book club, Service 95. She just got married to Aquarius Callum Turner, and they did it in this sort of, she has this sort of society lady, like, white suit and hat on. So,
Hmm,
yeah, I guess they're going
love
to
that.
have a party in Sicily, but they actually did an understated marriage at town hall. And so it's funny she kind of did that before Jupiter went into Leo.
Which
And
is a good move because when Jupiter's in the sign before yours, you have that time. It's kind of you're more in that romantic fantasy. It's like I know she's working on
intimate.
another album, so I think, she's probably going to be really busy with Jupiter and Leo. I love Dua Lipa. I mean,
Well,
she's
it's like she had
a
all her
kind, cool
songs. She had
person.
yeah, she really is. And she had so many songs that were like, you can tell she's had history of drama and relationships and writes so brilliantly about it. But she was probably very happy to just, have a love that she can just kind of, and she has Venus in Cancer too. So that's kind
And
of like the
Cancer
private part of
moon,
it.
right?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and
Cancer
can.
moon. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, I mean, she's genuinely an awesome person, and our encounters with her and has her book club. Just really cares about issues, and she's not afraid to stand up and say what she thinks. And you don't see that as much. So I think she's a great role model for people, and I hope we hear more from her during Jupiter and Leo.
Yeah,
So,
now big switch of subjects, but one of the things that we track as the long-term cycles that are going on are the lunar nodes. And all the way since January 11th of 2025 and until this July 26th, the nodes have been in two very health-oriented signs. The south node has been in Virgo, the north node in Pisces. So Virgo rules medicine and research,
health.
Pisces, just public health. Pisces rules hospitals, also just kind of detoxing the release of things. Um, there's a new pill, an experimental pill that really is showing promise for helping people with pancreatic cancer, not to, resolve it completely, but to live longer. And it seems to be a treatment that's working. So a breakthrough in medicine. There's also some breakthroughs in GLP-1s. Eli Lilly, which does a lot of the GLP-1 drugs. I mean, their stock has gone up over $1,000. So
Wow.
it might split, but they just invested. They had three new acquisitions this last week to build an infectious disease portfolio. So
Well, we've got
they're
Ebola, and
mhm.
everything. So we're in this post-Doge world now where we have, you know, the WHO and FEMA, and our hands are really tied because we don't have the resources allocated to that. But storm season is coming. There's Ebola. What I would like to see is, and I wonder if this is brewing, is HRT, the estrogen patches and progesterone, like are still being delayed. There's still a shortage. So the one thing that makes women uh, who are in perimenopause and menopause actually feel better and function has a shortage that was believed to be up to 3 years. Now that's outrageous to me that we would have a shortage on something like that. It was they removed the FDA removed the sort of warning label because the study that said estrogen was linked to breast cancer has been kind of debunked over the years. It was never what it blew up to for people thinking it was. So, but I think that they're probably going to try to privatize that and
If
make
they haven't
money.
already.
Yeah, I don't think there really is a shortage. That's my conspiracy mind. I think
Just a
they
chance to raise the price
Yeah, I think
and,
like they're seeing what GLP-1s are doing. They're seeing this menopause, midlife, perimenopause gold rush. I mean, I had a 36-year-old woman talking to me about perimenopause. A lot of women in their 30s and they probably are having it. But it's become like also like everything is perimenopause now. So, I mean, with everybody having
it's a
bought
new
into
attachment
that,
issue. It's a
yeah.
new, who cares what your attachment style is? Are you in perimenopause?
I mean, I love that we're learning
And you're
about more.
definitely an avoidant attacher.
Right,
Yeah. Or
right, exactly.
disorganized because you're going to be anxious and avoidant and all over the place. Remember being 35 and like nothing really changed circumstance wise, but 35, all of a sudden I would just like, okay, I'm doing my yoga, going out to eat, showing up at karaoke, but I feel invisible all of a sudden. Like I wasn't just sending out that hormonal pheromone signal, I guess, the way I used to. And I don't think I looked any different. But like something had shifted in the ether. And probably a lot of 35-year-olds, at least women
Yeah, I
might
mean,
be
I think
like,
it's
oh my
actually, I mean,
God.
I made a little sarcastic remark, but I don't really mean it that way because I think it's great that we're educated about our hormone levels and demanding. It's what I hear more than anything is that women are going and asking their doctors and gynecologists about what they're hearing, and a lot of them are getting dismissed. And there's a real disconnect. Not all, there are some amazing doctors out there, but there's a real disconnect still between what people are learning in medical school, and what we're learning in this new research. So it's kind of one of those things. Now, what I'd like to see happen is that men start looking at their hormones besides just testosterone and virility and their sexual health. And because I know a
Well,
lot
they
of
go through
women.
andropause as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, men, as we're seeing as Gen Xers, they become grouchy and mean and like depressed, or their hormones shift in
It's
ways too.
often
But
low testosterone.
yeah,
But you know, the attack on estrogen has more insidious tentacles, probably linked to the attack on, the birth control pills
yeah.
and abortion pill. Anything that is hormonal, I
Well,
just feel like it's all
I
part of the
had to order
same
some
thing.
estrogen patches from a private company instead of just because I couldn't get them at my regular pharmacy, and that the pharmacy was a pharmacy that serviced trans people. So
Mm-hmm.
I do think
Interesting.
there's something with that as
I'm sure.
well.
How could there not be? Of
Yeah.
course.
So the mystery continues. I did get a box from Walgreens, but my next shipment seems to be it's continually in process. So we'll have to see, but
Pitting menopausal women against trans women is so wrong. Here's
uh
Mercury in Cancer,
yeah,
Mercury
Mercury and Jupiter and
retrograde.
Cancer will definitely bring talk of this up. So, I mean,
Cancer is women and the womb and motherhood and female hormones. So, yeah.
it's amazing to live in a time when we actually can measure our hormone levels and adjust them. And longevity is such a big thing. I mean, not in the way these billionaires are talking about, like becoming partially robotic so that we can live forever. Like, I think these guys have been, living in a sci-fi video game for way too long. And
Well, there's
there was
so
a
much
clip
going on with that
there was a
now.
clip
Oh,
going around of Sam Altman, the triple Taurus, this past week on a stage talking about we see a future where people pay for intelligence like a utility, like a gas or electricity bill. It's like, so you're saying we need to put intellectual property in the world for your bot to take without crediting or paying the originator, and we have to pay a tax and sell. I was like, are we looking at like the next Boston Tea Party? I was like, is the American
right.
Revolution about to repeat after 250 years? Who knows?
It
But
kind of feels like it. Well, guess who won't be around to fight on either side, it seems, is Libra Peter Thiel, who just temporarily moved with his husband and family to Argentina, just like the Nazis did. He says it's to avoid high taxes and a potential nuclear war. I don't buy it.
high
I
taxes.
I think it's I don't, you know, he's probably there to mess with the midterm elections from afar.
Yeah.
Argentina's government is in Trump's pocket. We gave them what, 4 billion, 400 billion or 4 billion. I know it was some billions.
Well, when not moving to Argentina, apparently Peter Thiel has also been going around on a tour talking about the Antichrist. And the Antichrist, as he's portraying it, is basically probably anyone who isn't in the MAGA cult mentality. So it's getting wild out there. And with Uranus and Gemini, I mean, one of the scandalous stories in the astrology world that broke was there's a French astrologer who trademarked the word astrocartography. A lot of astrology people have gotten into astrocartography, which is the astrology of place. It takes your birth chart and spreads it out over a map. So different places in the world, it does a relocation chart for every place and time zone in the world. and shows you which planets are activating different areas. I just did a podcast recording this morning with Helena Woods, who is one of our favorite astrocartographers, and we're going to have her on as a special guest too,
Great.
going deeper, diving in. So I was having her explain some of this in layperson's terms because I'm new to it too in a lot of ways. So, um, one of her students and a student of, I believe, Kepler College, um, has decided that she needed to trademark the word astrocartography in France and has
It
sent.
was one of Helena's students who did
Yeah,
that?
yeah. She even
Wow.
lists on her website that she is has a is a graduate of Helena's locational astrology program as well as the other one. So the originator of astrocartography was a man named Jim Lewis in the 1970s, and um, and so I guess she works with his institute or something, but the whole idea, she sent a bunch of Helena's students letters, basically, I think telling them that they can't use the word astrocartography anymore. And she's trying to get it trademarked in the EU. So I just thought this is such a weird manifestation of Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and
Oh my God, what
Aquarius.
sign is she? Do we have
She's a
any intel?
Capricorn, interestingly, much
Of
like Jeff
course.
Bezos. I think she's a mid-January Capricorn. She had her chart posted on the Kepler College website because she was a student there. So she
God,
shared it
what an
herself.
at
So,
astrology has its first villain.
oh
Well,
man,
not
she's,
the
yeah.
first, but
I mean,
a
it's
new modern era
you won't be
villain.
surprised. She's the villain of the age of Aquarius. You won't be surprised that she's being shredded on Twitter. But it was an example of something that we may see more of. This idea of trying, like with the data, it's the same mentality as these tech oligarchs with their data center. Like, it's a like colonizing the cosmos. It's like, let me
Cosmic colonizer.
disregard all the people who make a living, all the people whose livelihoods are coming from this, just so I can grab a piece of something for myself. But I'll become a villain. Nobody will want to deal with me. I'll lose my entire community. It's just to think that people still think that doing something like that is actually going to work in their advantage is always so interesting to me. It's like you've got it so backwards.
Well, it's
So
interesting. One of
backwards.
the things people don't always know is that Sagittarius rules the law. Libra does. Libra rules legal proceedings, but the actual laws themselves, the doctrines, also fall under Sagittarius. And since last winter until this September, Black Moon Lilith is in Sagittarius.
Mm.
And I also think that that has been contributing to all the global warfare. We also have Eris. So the 10th planet, Eris, which sits outside of Pluto. I think we talked about Eris last week.
Yeah, we did
Eris
do that
is the
Henry
goddess of
Seltzer.
discord. Yeah, goddess of discord and strife, the sister of Aries. And Eris is, right next to Chiron, who we talked about earlier, the wounded healer. So this like wounded warrior rage energy. And then we've got Lilith chiming in another fire sign because Eris and Chiron are in Aries and Lilith is in Sagittarius. So it's just it's going to be messy too. And when Jupiter goes into Leo for a bit,
Listen, we know some of you guys thought that the fire horse sounded sexy and exciting because it does, but we knew it was going to be an intense year, and it's 1 year in numerology, so there's a lot of aggressive energy afoot.
well, why don't we go to the prophecies part and talk about the human design for this week?
Yeah, so to kind of close us out, we've been talking about the sun's journey through the human design gates, or the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, 64 gene keys. So the sun lines up with one of these for about 5 days based on the degrees of the zodiac sign. So We're just finishing up Gate 16, the Gate of Skills. We had that from May 27th to 31st, June 1st, always. The last week has been really about focusing on the details and just getting things done, learning new skills. I taught a vibe coding Boston Tech Week course with Angelina, our friend who we partner with on tech stuff. So it was perfect for the gate of skills. And now we're
Hmm.
moving into gate 25, the gate of change. So from June 1st through 7th, this whole week. Now, since May 9th and until June 19th, every gate that the sun is going to go through is located in the throat chakra. There are a lot of gates in the throat chakra. It's going to continue to be about speaking up. So this week is about talking about change. What would you like to change in your life? What would you like to do differently? How are you dealing with change? What changes do you foresee? Or just being it. Like,
Hmm.
start saying something different. Your words do create your reality. So Gemini season is a really important time to pay attention to what you say and how that shapes your reality. So the gate of change for this week from the throat chakra, gate 35, is going to be the one that guides us. So, yeah,
Very interesting. With Mercury, moving into a new sign, it's all about what you have to say, but also
talking about those
maybe
changes with
speaking to the
family.
people close, yeah, family, community as well. I think there's a lot of conversations, especially as people are trying to sort out here in the United States the whole redistricting attempts that are happening with the Voting Rights Act being, partially overturned. And there's a lot of
People are
community organizing
protesting.
going on.
Yeah.
That's
A lot of
true.
detention center protests, which for, family members people have been
Right.
blocked from talking to them or just they're having inhumane conditions. Of course. I mean,
A
it's
lot
just
is
absolutely
coming out,
awful.
and
I think that's going to be a lot of the Mars is in.
homeland security being a thing,
Yeah.
and who's a citizen, whose home is this, and a lot of people who have been mistreated
Well,
unfairly.
Mars is in Taurus, which is also the throat. So people are going to be using their voices, speaking up, advocating for their families with Jupiter and Mercury. I think that's going to be a big thing this summer, all these
The very
detention
Taurus,
centers.
Taurus and Cancer are kind of two sides, as well as Gemini, that are getting a
Protective.
lot of play. Those three signs, and we have super moons, I think, in all three of them too. This
We do.
summer, it's like Taurus, the throat; Gemini, the lungs, the hands, communication. Taurus is also our values, and then Cancer, the people in our inner circle, our security, our roots. So with, gas prices, grocery prices, like just insanity, like people being afraid to travel because they don't want to wind up in an ICE detention center. It's just like there's a lot that's pulling us into these foundational early signs, as well as Aries. We've got Saturn and Neptune there. So we're kind of at the beginning of the zodiac, which is interesting because at the end of last decade, there's a lot that was at the very end of the zodiac. We had a lot of Scorpio, Sagittarius,
Yeah.
Capricorn,
Yeah.
Aquarius, Pisces through the pandemic. But now,
Now it's all
as
the
of
newer
2025,
signs,
so we're at this kind of
the
this
young signs.
young, what do we do? What's going on? I gotta
Who's coming to
assess.
save us? But with the gate of change activated this week, like maybe we'll start talking about some solutions and having new conversations. I mean, that's my optimistic
Yeah.
view.
The
Like,
groundwork, what's the groundwork that needs to be done? It's great. I think we really do need to talk
we're ready
about
for the
that.
gate of change. Absolutely. So, wishing you a great week ahead. Again, if you'd like to get on our summer schedule for an astrological chart reading, head over to astrostyle.com/readings and book yourself a session. Again, we would so appreciate if you're enjoying the podcast, if you'd write us a review, 5-star review if you love it. And we wish you a powerful, positive entry into the second half of 2026. Here we go.